Hi class, today we're going to be working with chapter 7.3b using zero or negative powers, and there's four different kinds of concepts here that we're going to be dealing with. One of our key concepts is that for any non-zero number a, if we raise that number a to the zero power, our answer is going to be 1. If you look at example A, 8 to the zero power is 1. Example B, y to the zero power is 1. At this point, hit pause, and you do example C, D, E, and F. Well, now hopefully that didn't prove too hard. Did you get ones? Our second concept is how to handle the times when we get an answer that has a non-zero number, A, and the integer n, where the power is that negative n. Now, I did show you this earlier in the year. So a to the negative n power, as soon as you see that negative number in the exponent, it forces it to become what's called the reciprocal. So instead, we are going to write it as a1, rather, over a to the n. Notice that when we put the n in the denominator to show the reciprocal, we are going to get a positive number. Let's look at sample A, example A. Here we have 8 to the second power. Excuse me. That really equals 1 over 8 squared. Notice the negative number, the negative 2, when it goes to the denominator into the reciprocal, it becomes a positive 2. And then we write it as 1 over 64. Let's look at example B. 3 to the negative 2. 3 to the negative second power. It's going to force it into the reciprocal of 1 over 3 squared. Well, 3 squared is 9, so our real answer is 1 over 9. Now, in example C, notice that we have the negative 3 inside of parentheses. We have to follow that when we do the denominator. Remember that the exponent is no longer negative once it goes to the denominator. Now, we need to simplify this. Negative, we know we have a 1 in the numerator, okay? Negative 3 times negative 3, which would be squaring it, is going to be a positive 9. But then positive 9 times negative 3 is a negative 27. Now we have a choice. You can put it down by the denominator, put that negative sign by the denominator. Some people actually write it out in front, even with the division bar. Let's look at D. We're going to force it to be a reciprocal of 1 over negative 3 to the positive 4 power. That 1 is still going to be there. Now we've got to look at the negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. Positive 9 times negative 3 is negative 27. Negative 27 times negative 3 is going to be positive 81. In example E, we are going to get C to the negative 3 power. That forces us to write it as a reciprocal of 1 over C cubed. Excuse me. Example F. One of the ways to think about this is the fact that you are going to have an unwritten 1 in front of that x. So we really do have same powers here. 3 divided by 1 is going to be 3. X squared divided by x to the 7th power is going to be x to the negative 5. Now here's the tricky part. That exponent of negative 5 only works on the x. It is not affecting the 3. So our 3 becomes the numerator, and we have x to the 5th power. You see, if you can finish out examples G, H, and I. And here are the answers for examples G, H, and I. 4 over y squared, 3 over a cubed, and 5 over q to the 2nd power. Our third concept today is how to write a number that is less than 1 in scientific notation. Scientific notation doesn't change just because you start with a decimal. You are still going to have to figure out the first factor as a whole number, or a number that has only one digit to the left of the decimal point. We move the decimal point, but we write the second factor, that power of 10, as a negative power. If we look at example A, that decimal point is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's 5 times 10 to the negative 6. Let's look at example B. This decimal point is going to move to between the 2 and the 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2.15 times 10 to the negative 4. You hit pause and try example C. Hopefully you all got 1 times 10 to the negative 9 for an answer. Our fourth concept for today is the fact that if we start with a standard, with the scientific notation written with a negative power, we need to be able to write the standard form. Well, to write that standard form of a number with a scientific notation with a negative power, this time we're going to move the decimal point to the left. Remember that negative is always to the left of 0. Now, if you have a positive exponent, like we did in lesson 7.1a, we moved that decimal point to the right. Positive exponents move to the right. Positive integers are to the right of 0. Here we have a negative power. The negative powers are to the left of 0. So we're going to move that decimal point to the left. In A, we're going to move it 1, 2, 3 places to our left. Now you'll notice that there's 2 places here and here that don't have any digits. Those are going to become zeros. So our answer is going to be 0.0014. At this point, please hit pause and you do examples B and C. Excuse me. And again, I trust that you got the right answers excuse me, for B and C. This concludes lesson 7.3b. Please reply with cranberries. Scouting out.